Alright guys, I wanted to give you a build update on my Corrupting Cry Warbringer. This is just an update from the last video since I've got to tier 11 or 12 maps. Giving you some tips, kind of showing you again how it works, and just overall general update. So the build primarily is just going to use a Seismic Cry. What Seismic Cry is going to do is apply Corrupting Cry. It's a support gem that applies a debuff to your enemies. It does physical damage over time, and it scales off of your strength. So you can see here, Corrupted Blood deals 25% of your strength as physical damage per second. If you're ever on one of these tooltips and you want to look at these underlined items, just hold Alt. You can look at the descriptions they have here. Gives you some nice, knowledge that if you have questions, you can you don't have to Google. They try to throw in a lot more than they did in the first game, which is really nice. So you can start this build around level 41. That's when you're going to get your Seismic Cry for the first time. Before that, you're only going to have Infernal Cry, which you can use, but it'll be a lot more difficult because one of the benefits of Seismic Cry is that it has this knockback effect on enemies, so it pushes them back. It's a lot safer. It does apply a slight physical hit, but that's not really the damage we're worried about. All of our damage is coming from the Corrupting Cry support gem. Because it scales off of strength, you are primarily a strength stacker build. So you can see here I've got 800 strength. That is all of my damage, all of my life coming from this primary stat, which makes the building really, really easy. This is a build for everyone. It's not complicated at all. You pretty much only have to worry about 3 things for your character to get all the way to, I'd say you're cruising all the way till tier 5 or 6 on maps, and then you're really going to feel the power scaling of the game. So with Seismic Cry, you can cast it a ton. We're using life to cast. You can see it's barely moving. The passive tree is going to be what allows us to sustain most of the needs of this build. So for gearing, you're only really caring about strength. So you're going to have strength rolls on all of the gear that you can have it on. So strength here, strength on literally everything. I'll do a quick rundown. You can see strength. The amulets are great. You can get a ton of strength on your amulet, so look out for that if you're using trade. You can get bonuses to strength and to all attributes, which includes strength, for a huge boost in damage. Nothing really specific. You want armor gear, like you're not a evasion character or energy shield character. It's going to be armor and block chance for mitigating damage along with your resists. So as long as you manage to cap your resists and get pretty good armor gear and decent block chance on your shields, you're going to be all set for mapping. The only specific item I'd say you need early on, and you can switch off of this later with just, a helmet with crazy rolls if you find one. But you get the Black Sun Crest helm, and it's going to give you a % increased strength, which is only on a few items. This gives you a huge boost. I'll show you what my strength looks like if I remove it. So you can see it's giving me almost 100 strength just wearing this helmet. So the scaling's fantastic. It's a big boost to your damage. Speaking of damage, if you're curious as to the amount of damage you are dealing with your Seismic Cry and Corrupting Cry support, you can go to your skills, hit this little arrow, and it's the line down here. You can see Corrupted Blood physical damage per second. So mine right now is at 15,000. Cool thing about the passive tree nodes you're going to get is the more you cast it, the higher that number goes up. I think it peaks around 2,000. So it's about 2,000 DPS at max level as you keep casting, and your Corrupting Blood applies up to 10 stacks to any enemy. So your DPS is actually times 10 when they get max stacks on it. So it's great for bossing, great for scaling, nice and easy. Just hold down the button, knock back enemies, apply the debuff, play super safe. Very, very easy build. Let's go ahead and take a look at the passive tree. I'd say this build is primarily a passive tree build. Most of your scaling is going to come from the passive tree. Most of your strength is going to come from the passive tree. You'll see on my build, I'm going to have a setup here. This is really popular now, where you have a secondary set of totems. So I'm using Ancestral Warrior Totem. You do not have to worry about that. I didn't start using this until I think tier 8 in maps, where I just needed a bit more damage to take down some of the larger bosses, or like super juiced maps where the rare mobs might be particularly difficult to clear at a decent amount of time, or if you're in the middle of breaches, you just want some additional damage. So don't worry about the totem nodes. Really what you're going for, all of the pathing nodes here, just pick strength on them. It's nice and easy. You're getting strength the whole time you're pathing through. There's some really large strength nodes like beef here. You've also got down here, this will give you 10% increased attributes. So that's a lot like the helm. It's just going to give you % increase to strength, so a huge boost. On top of those, there are block nodes that you can grab that give you increased damage per % chance to block. So as you can see on the character sheet here, we've got 75% block chance. That is the cap. So with these nodes, you're getting just as much damage as you have block chance, which is just a really easy boost for something you're already doing. Some of these other smaller nodes, just block chance, life, armor. I'll have a passive tree linked at the bottom of this video. In terms of leveling, I will link a build guide. It's Zizaran's build guide that is on, I believe, max roll, and you don't have to use that. A lot of people just ask, like, okay, what do I do to get to level 41? And it's a pretty straightforward build to follow. I personally say, just, especially during the first 3 acts, just play whatever you think is fun. I don't really agree with this early in the game rushing through acts to try to get to the end game. I think it's like the prime time to take it slow, experiment, make mistakes, and really just like enjoy the game. And in the mistakes you'll make in trying to make it through the first 3 acts, you will learn so much more than just following a build guide. Early on, until you get your ascendancy nodes here, you're going to have to really focus on nodes like these that give you Warcry cooldown. And that's because until you get your ascendancy nodes here, which you'll get in your second ascendancy, it'll give you the ability to ignore the Warcry cooldown, because the base cooldown time is 8 seconds on Seismic Cry. I think if I hover here, yeah, so the cooldown time is 8 seconds. That's not going to give you enough time to apply 10 buffs to anything. It's going to be an awful time. So get that Warcry cooldown, get those nodes, get the cooldown lowered, and obviously as soon as you can, go and do your ascendancies. They're not really anything good to say about them. They're kind of terrible. They're kind of tough. But the first 2 at least are not too bad. I haven't even attempted the third after my first attempt. I'll probably do that tonight and give you guys another mini update, because I believe they've fine-tuned some things. So again, you're just pathing for strength. Here's another % increased strength node here. You're going to grab blood magic, which is just going to take away your mana pool. So no mana, we cast everything through our life. Strength gives us a huge life pool. I don't even really prioritize life on gear. Like, some of my gear has it now that I've gone shopping on the trade site, but not everything. You don't really need it. The strength is scaling your health more than enough. I'd say most builds like this I've looked at were all around like 3,200 to 3,500 health, which is more than enough with your armor and block chance. So let's see. In terms of mapping, what we're doing with our map right now is I'm really just focusing on finding good clusters surrounded by a couple of towers. And I really like breaches. Breach League was one of my favorites in the first Path of Exile game. I didn't get to play it a lot at the time, but I did enjoy it a lot. So it's really great to have it back here. So I'm just putting breach on everything I can. Put your chaplets in the towers after you complete the towers. Try to get overlapping effects on your maps. So like this map is a perfect example. You've got the map boss, you've got a breach from the tower, delirium, and then also irradiated, which will give you a +1 the monster level, which is just going to help with your drops overall. As much as you can, try to get irradiated, and where is an example? Try to get irradiated and here, corrupted on the same maps, this is a great example. So this map is a +2 to monster level. It doesn't really make them that much more difficult, but your drop rate and the drops you'll get from clearing will be so much better, especially if you can get these to also include a boss. While you're going through map tiers like 1 through 5, I'd say just rush boss nodes. Like you're not going to be able to do anything neat and fancy with the towers early on. Just look for the map boss icon and do whatever you can to rush towards it. If you end up with like a naked node that doesn't have anything, like this for example, don't spend any currency on your map. Don't overinvest into it. Just throw in whatever you'll clear fast and get to the next node. So if I wanted to get to the savannah that has the map boss, and this decay was in the way, like I'm running like a tier 1 that I'm going to blast through, and then say whatever my max is, if I'm on like tier 6 at the time, I'll put the tier 6 that's, you know, I've spent currency on here, so that it's much more rewarding. Because like if I spend it here, or sorry, if I spend it in decay versus in the savannah, like I'm not going to get anything out of that. It's going to be a waste of a map. It might not even grant me another map for a drop, and it'll just make your ATLUS time so much more difficult. I'll go over the skills next. So like we talked about, we're using Seismic Cry. The initial links for Seismic Cry you're going to use is Corrupting Cry, of course. That's all of your damage. In order to scale Corrupting Cry, we're going to use Brutality and Swift Affliction. So Brutality is giving us 35% more physical damage. As we said before, Corrupting Cry is dealing physical damage over time, so it does work. And then you're going to do Swift Affliction, which is 35% more non-ailment damage over time, which is also Corrupting Cry and scales with it. I've been on a 3-link this whole time. Like I said, I'm in tier 12 maps at this point. So don't stress. Don't be like, oh my god, I don't have the greater jeweler orbs. Like, you don't need them. This is perfectly fine for clear. The like 20,000 DPS at 10 stacks is going to clear pretty much anything the game can throw at you. You mostly just have to worry about like, is the map safe enough for you to survive, because you only get 1 death. In terms of the totem setup, if you want to try that, I will also post a guide that has the passive tree setup for that, because you have to get a little crafty with the weapon set 1 and 2, and it might be a bit more confusing for people, so I think it's way better to check it out in like written form. So I will post that link. But what you're linking is Ancestral Warrior Totem. It's a totem that does melee attacks and melee skills, essentially. What it does is Earth Shatter. You link it with just some increases to damage and increases to stun. And it's got great synergy with your Seismic Cry, so basically you're melting bosses when you drop a totem. As you can see, my weapon set has switched. When I go back to War Cries, it'll switch back to my shield in my main hand. You'll drop your totem will attack the boss. You'll War Cry, you'll see the boss's health mill. In terms of just general quality of life skills, you can slot the 2 movement skills. So I've got Shield Charge and Leap Slam. It just makes it so, if you want to leap slam over an edge, or you just want to dash faster for a moment to get some added mobility, there's no reason not to include them. Just make sure if you're using 2 weapon sets, that you hit the little arrow on any skill that you only want to use on 1 weapon set, and you can select and deselect whatever you want it to use. Because the last thing I would want is to like leap slam with my second set, which doesn't have a shield. I lose so much defense if that were to happen. So even if my shield's not out, you'll see once I go to leap slam, it switches, and there's my shield again. But again, none of this is necessary. This build is really simple. It's a clever build for sure, but it's not too complicated. I really think anyone can do this as a starter build. And if you just want to like progress through the game and kind of see what the game has to offer, this is a great first build before you go into like more complicated caster builds. Okay, and lastly, I just want to go over kind of how to find gear. So a lot of you might not have used the trade site before, so I will show you that. So this is the Path of Exile 2 trade site. So if you're looking for strength gear, it's really simple. Hold on, I'm going to reset it. So this is what it looks like before you input anything. If you're early on looking for strength gear, you just go over to the stat filter, you type in strength, and you're looking for the addition to strength here. So select that. You can put in a min if you like. So say you have an item already that has 10 strength and you want something that's a little bit better. You want, say, 15 strength. You can put in 15 here. If you're looking for gloves, we can put in gloves in the item category. For item rarity, if you really want to, you can go down here to any non-unique, just so early on you're not getting weird unique items that aren't really for your build. This will give you mostly rares that people have up for sale. Item level, don't get tricked by. A lot of times people are like, well, I want to make sure I can wear it, but don't mess with the item level box. You're going to go down here to the item requirements. So generally what I'll do is make sure that the max isn't more than like what my character's level is. So if I'm level 50, I'll just want to put 50 here and make sure that a level 50 character can wear it. Some more, I guess, like slightly more advanced things you can do. If you're looking for strictly armor gear, you can put in 0 maxes on evasion and energy shield, and it'll just give you way more armor results. So here, let's go ahead and do this search. So you'll get your initial results. As you can see, we've got 1,000 items matched. It's only going to show you the first 100 unless you scroll down tons and tons. In terms of what I would do from here is, say I just wanted whatever, I just want to see whatever has the highest strength. You can click strength here and it'll sort them by strength. So these gloves here, 27 strength, based on the filters I put in, these are like the highest strength ones I can get. They're an exalt, which is probably something you have if you're clearing through the campaign. It's actually very generous with exalted orbs. So go ahead and do that. If you end up with all your search results are like, holy crap, these might be too expensive, you can go to the buyout price here and you can put in, say, like, all you have are 2 exalted orbs. So you put your max at 2, you go to exalted orbs and run your search again. And it's going to make sure that none of these results are more than 2 exalted orbs. So we'll sort by strength one more time. And there we go. I mean, this is a steal early on. Like you're getting 93 life and 27 strength. And in the axe, you don't have to worry about resistances or anything like that too much. You can pretty much ignore all these other stats. These don't matter. Down here, accuracy rating doesn't matter. You're just looking for strength early on. Just grab everything you can with strength on it. I believe the unique helmet has gone up a little bit. Let's check the price now. So it's the Black Sun Great Helm. So let's see how much these are now. Perfect. Okay, so still not too bad. People are finding plenty of them to keep the price down, which is great. I'm sure if we look for the highest increased strength, it might be a bit more. Okay, so this is a good example of like these very expensive corrupted ones. If we just don't want to see them, then we can filter that out once I remember where that is. Corrupted. We can put corrupted, no. So one more time, we'll sort by strength, and there we go. We've got you can see here the range is 5 to 15% increase. This is a 15, and it's only 2 exalted orbs. So hopefully it helps you guys find deals, especially early on. When I was leveling, I think it was only like day 1 and day 2 when I did the first axe through normal and cruel. So there were a lot of great deals to be found if I just went here and did, max 1 regal orb. So like even cheaper, finding even blue items. You don't have to look for specifically rares, just blue items with like huge strength rolls were great to just boost me through the campaign. Let's see if there's anything else. Some other tips if you're looking for something, and let me try to give you guys an example. Let's go back to our strength. Let's do like, let's do amulets. Okay, so if you're looking for something and you see a bunch of results, you're doing direct whisper to trade with people, and you're just like, wow, I can't seem to get anyone to actually complete this trade with me. You might be looking for something too good, and there are instances of price fixing on the site where people will list a bunch of the same item for really, really low, because what they want to have happen is for other people to see that it's listed low and list theirs low so that they can snipe them and sell them at a higher price. So they'll have a bunch listed that aren't actually for sale to drive the price down. You can kind of avoid that by using this drop down here, and you can do collapse listing by account, and yes, so that way any of the people that are on the same account with like 100 items trying to price fix, it's gonna condense them all into one. So you can kind of avoid those weird annoyances of the trade site. It just kind of comes with any kind of open market in a game like this. So don't stress it. It doesn't happen very often. It'll happen like much later when you're looking for like super endgame red map gear. In terms of like really chase uniques, I think really the only one is maybe Astromentus. So Astromentus Stellar Amulet just gives you huge stats. So let's see. Yeah, like highest rolls are giving you plus 120 to all attributes. So I mean, we've seen what the damage difference can be when you have another 100 strength on an item. So that's just huge. Incredibly expensive. If you get one, let me know. I definitely want to see it. I'm you know, grinding out exalted orbs to try to get one for my own. But yeah, that is basically it. As I said, build's pretty simple. Build's really for everyone. It's a great first character. It's a great new to Path of Exile character. You're just strength. You're a dumb barbarian, and it just works. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for all the views on my very first video just a few days ago. I appreciate all of you. If you've come back and you've subbed, thank you so much additionally. And yeah, please let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Like and subscribe if you can. And I'm just going to roll footage of this character clearing. I think I have a Delirium map to show you guys at the end of the video. So have a nice day.